Hi, Melissa writing as Cassia here, and I've got a little bit of a story time for you, and it's about how I slid into this quick read situation. So I wrote, um, I should have had this ready, shouldn't I? So I wrote A Home with a Pack in June, and it is, well, so when I first wrote it, it was in the short novel category. But after I had written several books and played with my tone and how I like to write and my structure, I actually came back to edit it and just quietly released the edit last week. And it's actually come down to what would probably slip into the 2 hour read category. And then, so this year I gave myself permission after my whole life of wanting to write fiction. I got sick after university. I've had chronic illness for basically my whole life. And in the last couple of years, I've been getting better and better, and I'm nowhere near well, but I am able to start doing a few more things. And one of the things I really wanted to do was to write fiction. And the story for A Home with the Pack actually came to me like a couple of years ago. I was on a trip with my family, and I was like, dude, I don't have time for this. I've got 4 small children, multiple health issues, and a part-time job, but the idea wouldn't let me alone. So I wrote it down, left it aside. This year, pulled it out, wrote it, boom. And then I went, well, what next? And so I started a little series. I had this idea of what if. So a lot of my ideas come from what if. And in A Home with the Pack, I had this idea of Luna, Ash, and Connor. And Ash and Connor had a dual mate bond historically, and the mate had passed away. And in this one, I briefly entertained the idea of having them have a dual mate bond as well, but I actually decided that it was just Ash and Luna. And I gave Connor his own partner later on. But I thought, oh, what if? And so Tessa, Rylan, and Dane as an idea came forward. And I was also experimenting, like I love the idea of experimenting with form. So I write paranormal romance, which is a dime a dozen. But my point of difference is not only is it cozy and we don't have any alpha holes, low angst, not explicit, but not squeaky clean. So we've got a middle ground there. And I'm really falling into the quick read category. And it just means that we don't have to commit as busy women, mamas, maybe men, I don't know. I haven't got enough of an audience to make that statistic yet, but as busy people, and for me as a reader, I don't want to be committing to 100k reads. I would like some sense of like completion, something I can read on the sidelines of a hockey practice or on the sidelines of swimming practice, or when I'm sitting in the chair because I'm not feeling very well with my health issues or whatever. I just want to be able to achieve it, and I don't want to get deep and down and dark and dirty into plots. And so I thought, okay, I'll play. And so Ours to Choose came. Now, this is the only one that I've got physically just because I was proofing it. And I know the costs have risen and risen and risen. So I've reached a point where I've had to say I'm only going to get like big collections or bigger stories printed. But anyway, I wrote Ours to Choose. And it was the part of, it was the first where like the mate bond hit them. And it turned out to be, I think it was 15 or 18k, so novella territory. And I stuck to it. I went, this is the story that we're exploring. And then I went, okay, but what next, right? So it's not all fixed when you say, okay, we'll do it. And so then I explored the next part of the story. And so what happened is I ended up with 3 novellas that were interconnected, and each novella had its standalone arc. And then when you put them together, they had an arc that they all formed together. So what happens is I've got Ours to Choose, After We Chose, and Still Ours, which are releasing at the moment. We're about to get the second, and the third will come a few weeks later. But in January, I'm going to release Ours to Keep, which is essentially a novel on its own. You could just read it as a novel. So it's essentially the 3 books together, the 3 novellas together. But yeah, it reads like a novel. But what I found in playing and in letting myself play is that I love it. I love writing and reading that. But when you're reading it, what I've noticed is it's a little bit of a minefield, because I don't mind spice. I don't mind writing it, don't mind reading it, but I don't like it to be over like in the high levels, right? I like it to be in service of the emotional relationship. I don't want it to start early. I don't want it to be like anything like that. I'm very vanilla. And also, like, if these are the books I'm reading on the go, right? So it's a different theme and a different feel. So long story short is I decided to let myself explore it, and it's going really well. So I completed Crochet and Satin Bonds real quick. So I said, okay, what if we make a bit of a series? And so the Love and Moonglen quick read series came about. I wrote Crochet and Satin Bonds in like 2-3 days of my little writing blocks. So I write a little bit in the morning. I call it my words down time. And I literally am doing it on my phone, or I actually started these handwritten. And then I'll have little snippets of time later in the day, but it's always when I'm sitting quietly, and it's kind of secondary to life as a mama. But I kept thinking, the ideas keep percolating, and I get like little flashes and snippets and ideas as I'm doing other things, because I can't completely put it down. But anyway, Crochet and Satin Bonds came out in a few days from my head. And then I said, okay, let's do it again. And so I wrote Parrots and Satin Bonds. So that came again pretty quickly. It was an idea that I actually had sitting there for a while. I have a lot of ideas. I have a spreadsheet full of ideas. And if I was to say, no, they have to be novels, I'd probably never get to them, or it would be years away, because how many novels can a mama write? So yeah, gave myself permission to see it through. And then when I finished that one, I moved into Authors and Satin Bonds, and that's what I'm working on now. I am loving it. I love the cozy, the cute, the protective but not overprotective male, and the sassy female characters, and the myriad of ways that I can like make the surprise bond, the sudden bond happen, and you know what is happening in their life and how does that mix together, and how to tighten it, right? Like how to get it down into a small thing. I'm not really like, I start light but then realize that there's gaps to fill. I sometimes make like a screenplay, basically. There's a lot of dialogue. I get really into it and really into the characters, and like, yeah, a lot of dialogue comes out. But anyway, I put Crochet and Satin Bonds out. It's on my direct store already, and it will be on Amazon on December 10th. It's for pre-order now. And I'm going to go through and do a second draft, edit, proofread, all that, and put out Parrots in January. And then the plan is to put out Authors in March. So what I want to do is play with how do these shorts or quick reads land. And I'm not really constraining myself. I'm not saying they have to be within a certain category. So crochet is in the under, I think it's under 60 minutes category, but I have to see once it comes live on Amazon. Parrots was a little shorter, but I've got some work to do there. Authors is a little longer. And the Secrets one I have structured, I suspect that will come out a little longer again, but still in one of those quick read categories. And I'm going to release them only electronically. And then when I've got 4, I'll put them together so that they can come out in a nice, like, physical way, like this. And in my head, I know exactly what I want the cover to be. So I'll get that created. And so it'll be a bit like a special edition, gift edition, but, you know, also pretty to have on the shelf. So yeah, I think it will hit both boxes. So that is my foray into quick reads. But I also think it will help because as a mama with chronic illness, the deck is a little stacked against you when you're trying to become an author, right? When you are a self-published author, you've got to do all of it. And so if you're trying to write novels, pay for editors, you know, get the proofreading done, organize the covers, put it up on, you know, do all of the work associated with uploading, like that alone takes some time. Put it in your store, put it in Amazon, put it drafted digital, put it on Lulu. submit it to libraries, then tell people about it, you know, like have your Instagram, have your YouTube, whatever you have, like that takes a lot of work and time. And these days people want always quality, right? But people are also wanting quantity. And the advice is to build your catalog and get as many books out there, because the opportunity, right? Like if you're finding an audience but you have one book to read and they're gone, and then by the time you get another book out, you've got to be like, okay, where's more people? But if you can drip feed. So I thought, okay, this seems more energy friendly, especially because I'm not pushing myself. The ideas are coming to me and I love it. I absolutely, oh my gosh, I love it so much. And then I finish a story and I'm like, I can't believe I got to do that. And so that's, I think that's the difference for me, is like I'm playing with business models and trying, you know, but at the end of the day, A, dream come true already. B, I'm here for the long term. So I'm not really too like worried about being fast. But then, you know, that's just the mastery mindset in me. I get into it and I want to tweak and optimize and do well. And my stories mean a lot to me, so I would like people to read them. Anyway, that was my long ramble. So cozy, cute, quick read, lower on the spice scale. This one is the Ours to Choose series, being a dual bond situation, is more moderate, but still not excessive, conducive to the plot, all of those good things. Yeah, so let me know, do you read quick reads, short reads, novellas, short stories? Tell me your favorite authors. Do you have any authors who do the cozy, cute vibes in the quick read? Because I would like to add to my to read list as well. And let me know if you have any cute ideas for me to add to my list of story ideas. Thank you so much for being here on the journey, and I'll catch you again soon.